Let's wake it up. Let's wake it up. Let's wake it up. Mint Street Mondays. Y'all know what time it is with me. Thank y'all so much for joining me on this Victory Monday. I see so many of my faithfuls in the chat. Salute to y'all. Look, victory on top of victory on top of victory. We took the tape from Buffalo and burnt it. And then we did what many people thought that we couldn't. And man, I cannot tell you how ecstatic I am that we were able to do it. You know, I spoke with someone, I want to say maybe two pods ago, right? And they were like, man, oh, it's just, the Jets or whatever, right? But I told you, the fact that you went on the road and done something at that point that you hadn't done yet, which was go on the road and beat a team, no matter how it looks, you got it done. So as a result, what happens? You build confidence. Then we get smoked, right? But you burnt the tape and then did what you were supposed to do. That's what I'm saying, man. That is the keep pounding mentality. That is what all this history that we wear this stuff for is built on, man. Keep going. Don't quit. Resilience. I love it. And man, I love y'all. Shout out to Tahisha Mango, Chef Thomas Dickerson, my dog Lowski. What's going on? Shout out to Willie Smith, my man. Good morning, Nicole Ivory. Always with the good morning text. Miss Douglas, what's going on? Poppin', my man. Yo, we in here. We are in here. So, yeah, walk in the trap. Hey, man, I don't know why I'm making your logo show up purple, dog. I ain't even trying to do you like that, I promise. But regardless. Also want to make a shout out real quick to our channel members, man. Salute to our One Carolina channel members. If you're not a member of the channel, you can join for $1.99 a month. Get special emojis. We're also going to start having, once the membership kind of gets up a little bit, we'll have member-only chats, member-only podcasts. But shout out to Geraldine Cook, Richard Bowman, and King Sun 1. Like I said, become a member of the channel today. Salute to y'all. Make sure to smash that like button. Since you're in here, we got 72 between two platforms. Smash the like button, and look, let's get started. So, I was talking to my boy Brad last night, who will join me soon. And I was like, man, when somebody shows confidence in you from a certain perspective, right? Like if you, there's something to be said when, like if you're at a job, you work in a job and, you're doing real good in one, place or whatever, as far as like your, where you're at. And, you're working towards where you want to get to, right? They always say you shouldn't dress for the job you have. You should dress for the job that you want, right? I love it when people come and give you extra responsibilities, because what does it show you? It shows you that they already believe in you for that next position, right? So Dave Canales did something yesterday with the help of somebody else, right? But I thought that this was, and y'all let me know if you don't hear the audio, because sometimes my audio be tweaking, but Dave Canales did something I thought was incredible at the beginning of this game, something you don't normally do. May not hear this, may hear this. Let me know. Huge decision. Huge decision. Man, I'm telling you, Dave Canales is winning me over more and more and more. Like, the reason why, to me, that's such a big decision is because you're already instilling the confidence in your team of like, yo, dog, we don't care. We're going to go in here and win. If you really are afraid of what that offense can do, your posture is like, yo, give it to them, so that once they score, we could try to offset this by a 2-for-1, maybe scoring at the end of the second quarter, going into the, and then coming out of the second half so we have the ball, right? But to get win position in a stadium like that, and to have that kind of gumption to say, you know what? Yeah, y'all take it. One of the number one teams in the NFC. You can have it. One of the top scoring offenses in the NFC. You can have it. And what do we do out the gate? Do what we've done all year. Not let them score a touchdown in the first quarter or on the first drive or whatever, right? That is, I'm talking about, bro, you talking about letting them hang. Big Dave, You know what I'm talking about? Like, I'm talking, bro, this was, man, to me, like, that would energize me beyond belief from the jump. From the jump. I would already have just the absolute belief that I can do anything, which brings me to my very first point. Yo, Nick Scorton is an animal. Nick Scorton, in my opinion, is going to be in that line of people that you talk about, like the Charles Johnsons. Julius Peppers may be a stretch, right? But he is going to be in that line of Panther greats when it comes to what he means to a defensive line. I tweeted this yesterday. I said it wasn't going to show up on the stat sheet. And let me pause for 2 seconds. Got a super chat. Appreciate the super chat. Who is this? Will Robinson. Will Robinson says, culture-defining victory. We are what's next in the NFL. Hey, man, I couldn't agree more. Salute to you, Will. Appreciate the super chat. But as I mentioned, okay, so y'all couldn't hear the audio. I kind of figured that's what was going on. So, are y'all hearing my audio? Like, can y'all hear me? Type a 1 in the chat if you can hear me. I'm pretty sure you can hear me. You might not have been able to hear that. So, I got to work out that issue. But the point is, like I said, I believe y'all can hear me, so I'm going to keep going. Nick Scorton is one of those guys that, like I said, it's not going to always show up on the stat sheet. 5 tackles, nothing crazy. But what he does in terms of just the effort is different. It's absolutely different. I watched the play where obviously the pressures were the pressures, right? That kept happening like over and over again. But there was a play in particular where Nick Scorton pressures, balls dumped off into the flat, literally turns around, looked like maybe like a screen or something like that, turns around, slams ball carrier on the ground, stands over top of him and just looks at him. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's what we need. It's those type of plays and that type of effort that will completely change the makeup of this team. It has changed it, not will change it. This is a change that's already in effect. And it's going to help the other young guys. You get a young guy like this playing this well, like the sack stuff will come along. But I've always said, man, personal opinion, right? You go look at like the Philadelphia Eagles from last year. You go look at the Kansas City Chiefs from last year. Some of these other teams, man, the sack numbers aren't like through the roof. But the pressures, 30% and above. That's what you need. I would much prefer the pressures. Well, okay, let me take it easy. I'm not going to say I would prefer the pressures over the sacks. But the sacks don't matter as much if you're not closing, as long as you're creating bad opportunities for for the opposing offense, right? Turnovers. Jordan Love had 2 throws yesterday that looked like Jordan Love when he first started after the Aaron Rodgers situation, right? Like that one throw on 4th down. Lots of pressure at that moment, rolling him out to his left, throws the ball, completely across, the field. And Mike Jackson literally had, you couldn't have told me it wouldn't have been 6. It looked to me like it was going to be 6 points easy, right? And yeah, that's because of the pressure. Another bad ball thrown in double coverage. Hey, keep trying this. Greg Olsen was like, man, I can't understand why they keep running the ball. Hey, they showed you. Because you keep trying the secondary and bad things are going to happen. Trayvon Moore picked off, right? Picked off the pass. So, and there was one time, I will say this. There was one play, that throw to Matthew Golden. I ain't gonna lie, man. It was a beautiful throw. And Jordan Love does this. Like, it's not uncommon. Like, we see this from him, right? But, man, just the overall pressure, the overall, effort and everything that you see from a guy like Nick Scorton, this is a complete game changer. Double O'Kane says he sees Dwight Freeney in Nick Scorton. Yeah. Shout out to my man Elliott. Keep pounding. Yes, sir. That interception 100% came off of pressure. 100%. So this is something that's going to continue. What I look forward to, and look, let me just give you some perspective. I was watching a clip this morning on another show, and they talked about the Bengals. And the Bengals have drafted over the last 10 seasons, like multiple defensive players, and they still can't figure it out. right? This is the Carolina Panthers pedigree. So I'm glad that it's starting to that things are starting to take shape, right? Ejiro Vero's plan is starting to take shape. Loving seeing the blitzes, 2 A-gap blitz in particular. 1 Christian Roseboom, 1 Trevin Wallace. And it's almost like they didn't even know it was coming. And this is not something, I mean, it's happened. We've seen it a couple of different times, throughout the year so far. But when you have that good of a secondary and you can cloud coverage that well, man, you can do anything on the front. And then vice versa. When you're getting pressure, you can do anything on the back end. And look, salute to Trevin Wallace. I know, obviously, people have been saying, and I don't necessarily disagree with this, that linebacker is your biggest need, but man, has he stepped up to the plate. Christian Roseboom not necessarily having to have, green dot responsibility, being able to play more with his hair hanging down, no pun intended. You know what I'm saying? Like, things have changed, man. These guys are really taking a hold of the coaching and the development. And to me, that is 100% a testament to what Dave Canales is doing and also what Dan Morgan is doing in the way of building this roster. And I tell you, man, Dan Morgan doing what he's doing as far as this is concerned, man, I can't imagine what this looks like in another year or two, right? Another draft like this. Because now, I mean, you're really like, because you if you think about it, yes, Roseboom is somebody you probably want to replace, right? I'm going to give Nick Scott his flowers and then also look at Nick Scott like he's crazy because Nick Scott gave up a huge play, but Nick Scott also caused what I believe to be the momentum shifter in this game right off the rip. Packers driving on that first drive. They get down into near the red zone. Nick Scott blows up the play. Christian Roseboom punches the ball out, fumble, boom, we get the ball back, right? Tone is set. I feel like you can just double on top of the positions that you already have. Safety is definitely going to be a position that you want to double up on. Linebacker, you want to double on that position. Offensive line. Hey, man, shout out to Joe Gilbert. That's the next thing I wanted to talk about. Yo, this is crazy. Micah Parsons held to 1 pressure. At one point in the game, I want to say this was going into like the end of the third quarter, he had 0. And they posted a graphic because, the graphics, shout out to the graphics team for Fox and all these, different places that do this. But like they posted a graphic that was like, man, this was the lowest pressure percentage he's had in his entire career. That's insane. Especially for somebody like Icky, who in the beginning of his career kind of started off in more of he's a good run blocker, pass blocking not so much, right? But boy, has that changed. That has changed substantially. Man, I'm talking meaningful reps against Micah Parsons. Not the whole time, right? It didn't happen the entire time because obviously there was they're moving Micah around trying to get him, in other places or whatever. But between Yash and Icky, bro, strong, super strong, super strong. Shout out to Michael with the super chat. What we got here? Michael says, curious, do you think we might make the playoffs? I will answer that question in just a few. We'll get to that. But I'll circle back to that. But I will remember it because that is something that we're going to cover. To the point. For Micah Parsons, because it's not just Micah. Shout out to my boy Low in the chat. Look, like you said, both untouched too. Yes. Yesterday, I was on the pregame podcast, and shout out to Low. Y'all make sure to tap into the pregame podcast and subscribe over there. We'll obviously be doing a lot more content together. That's my brother. But when we were talking yesterday pregame, I said, man, Rashawn Gary and Micah Parsons, honestly, it does make me a little nervous. I am a little concerned about it because, you got 2 guys that are playing out of their mind, right? And that whole defense is playing well. To go on the road and to hold Micah Parsons, of all people, to 0 pressures, we're not talking about sacks, right? Because we've seen that. We saw that Bryce's first year. We saw that Bryce's second year. We've seen the sacks. We talking about pressures, right? Completely different animal. And just watching Icky's technique, I love that he has just taken to the coaching, developed himself, worked his tail off. And look, it gonna get a bag, man. That's your next big contract right there. I'm not so sure that this deal don't happen much sooner than later. I am not so sure that this deal don't happen much sooner than later, because Ick has done some things from a technique perspective that look completely different than what we saw the previous 2 years. And joining me now is my co-host Brad. I want to ask you the same question, Brad. Ikem Ekwonu, man. You know, like I said, Michael Parsons didn't necessarily get held by Icky alone, but man, the reps against him, fantastic. Completely different change from what we've seen over the years. You say to that?
13 plays, 9, one-on-one, completely took him out of the game. 0 pressures, 0 hurries. First time in Micah Parsons' career that he wasn't able to get a pressure. That is huge.
Yes. Humongous. 1 pressure the entire game. Hey, let me take a quick pause. Shout out to my girl, Nicole S. Just became a member of the OCs, the One Carolina channel. Listen, man, $1.99 per month if you want to join. Like I said, we'll start doing special member-only shout-outs, obviously, at the beginning of each Mint Street Monday. We'll start doing member-only podcasts, things like that. We'll bring on special guests and that kind of thing. But for the here and now, it's just a building process. But shout out to Nicole for becoming a member of the One Carolina show. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Make sure to smash that like button, y'all. 108 watching between 2 platforms, 29 likes. Let's get those likes up. Brad, continue.
But, yeah, I mean, all across the board, Curran that we got off the Cardinals practice squad came in and played both guard spots.
Yeah.
Short everything up from double teams to passing guys off. I know that was a big thing we saw with the Packers O-line struggling to, make those transitions on those blitzes up the A gap. I mean, that's one of the easiest things, you block inside out.
Yeah.
And they couldn't transition to keep guys out of the backfield. And with what we were supposed to be scared of with, how the Packers have this vaunted pass rush with the addition of Parsons, passing guys off, the way they moved him around left side, right side, A gap, pressures, 0. He got nothing.
Yeah.
Huge play, huge game from the offensive line.
Huge.
And like I said, just that continuity across the board. Something we were talking about last week, you can't downplay the fact that we've had 12 different offensive line combinations this year.
Yeah.
And we still continue to get games where we give up 1 pressure across the board. We get 130 yards rushing. I mean, whoever just shout out to Dan Morgan, Like I said, I mean, Curran come off with somebody's practice squad, a few weeks ago. I mean, they are putting these pieces together, and, you don't want to see this. I mean, we'd love to have Robert Hunt, We'd love for Zavala to play, some complete games. We'd love to have Brady Christensen, but since we've had to do what we've had to do, we're still getting great production out of guys all across the board.
Yes. Yes. Great production. Brad, I talked about this at the top of the show to start off. I mentioned how Dave Canales, and people couldn't hear the clip, and I apologize about that, but Dave Canales mentioned, him, special teams coach, I believe it was, not D Bates, but I can't remember the guy that he mentioned, the name that he mentioned along with him, but he was basically saying, like, look, we consulted, wind is blowing this way. You and I talked about this last night. To have the gumption to say, you know what, we're going to give them the ball because we believe at the end of the game, this could work out in our favor. And it actually does, is insane. And it builds a level of confidence in your team, just like going for it on 4th down so many different times builds the kind of confidence in your team that, like, look, this guy's not just playing scared. Like, he really wants to win. And he really believes that we can rise above what people think about us being a 2-touchdown, dog in this game, or whatever else that people may, have as a perception about us, that we can go in here and we can really win this game.
Well, yeah, I mean, Tracy Smith is the special teams coordinator, and Darren Bates is the assistant. And this is the thing, we talked about it, is the big brain. This is supposed to be what you get with these analytics, offensive-minded, young head coaches. Mm-hmm. Your Sean McVays, Mike McDaniel. I mean, you're supposed to get this basically, we as fans live through John Fox. It is what it is. Ron Rivera, and the biggest things you heard from the fans was like, these guys are, former players. These guys are defensive-minded coaches.
Mm-hmm.
They make so many points on the field. They make so many bad operational decisions and clock management and stuff like that. And that's the things, that's one of the issues people were having with Dave Canales, clock management, getting the plays in late. You're supposed to, if anything, have the kind of knowledge and the kind of thinking on your feet, computer brain, like they, associated with Bryce. Like, you're supposed to have this as a coach to make these kind of decisions. And the fact that it was the special teams coach was like, hey, man, the way this wind is blowing, it's going to affect this game. I mean, Pam Oliver talked about it when they first started the game.
Mm-hmm.
And for it to really, you see when they tried the 49-yard field goal going the other way, at the end of the game, with the wind, he had plenty of leg, but it definitely was number one, decision that was made yesterday before the game started that ended up at the very end giving us the kind of help we needed to kick the 49, for a field goal to win.
That's a fact. Shout out to Ian with the $4.99 super chat. Ian says, and let me move this around a little bit. Well, we'll just read it. Ian says, with this win, I believe the changes our playbook outlook, playoff. I'm reading Panther Pickle's comment, and this at the same time. My apologies. With this win, I believe this changes our playoff outlook, and wonder what you think about the trade the Panthers would make. Just like with Michael, that super chatted that earlier, we are going to get to that. So I'll hold that, but yes, we will get to that and talk about what this means as far as our overall outlook. But Brad, continue.
So like I said, with special teams, shout out to offensive line coach Joe Gilbert. I know basically they had holdovers, offensive line coach guys that came over from the rule era that they felt like, just like, Evero, when a new coach came in, he had to keep this offensive line coach. And so last year when we went over with Canales, you think, well, we're not going to keep the offensive line coach we've been dragging along for 2-3 years. Mm-hmm. And we bring in this Joe Gilbert guy. All of a sudden, Chandler Zavala, he's playing better. All of a sudden, Icky is playing better than even his rookie year. Because, we've seen the fall off he had his sophomore year.
Oh, yeah.
And then for them to bring in all these different guys along the way, shout out to Joe Gilbert, and especially, like I said, special teams coordinator Tracy Smith. Those guys were flying around.
Mm-hmm.
Lathan Ransom, Bryson Tremaine, Thomas Nkum, definitely playing complimentary football.
Big time.
Got to win in all three phases, and we won in all three phases.
All three phases of the game. I couldn't agree more. I was telling the guys earlier, guys and gals in the chat earlier. There was a play. Nick Scorton, and I'll double back to this and ask you your thoughts on Scorton. Nick Scorton had a play where he literally pressured the quarterback, turned around, looked back, grabbed whoever the run defender was. Whoever the runner was after the ball was dumped off in the flat, slammed him down and just stood over and looked at him. And I was like, okay, yeah. He was already playing out of his mind anyway, but when he made that play, and this was late in the game, this was end of the third quarter, kind of play. And I'm like, yeah, this is different. Nick Scorton on another level.
Oh, yeah, and we talked about the play. You don't like to see players getting hurt, but the play where Tucker Kraft got hurt,
mm-hmm.
he blows up the offensive tackle, and then he blows that play up so hard that this guy kicks Kraft in the knee, and what I'm hearing is, a torn ACL.
Mm-hmm.
You talking about setting the edge. You talking about the difference in the kind of players we've had this year, dealing with what we were dealing with last year with DJ Johnson. You can't do it better than that.
You cannot.
Especially as a rookie.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more. Someone had commented in the chat, and shout out to my man Tyree Ross. I saw you. What's going on, bro? But he said Christian Roseboom has consistently been one of the top tacklers and gets better with every game. We should absolutely keep him. I don't disagree with that. You know, like I think taking the green dot responsibility away, and this doesn't negate the fact that you want to build and add to the room, right? But that's something that Dave Canales and Dan Morgan talk about consistently, is adding to the room, adding competition, you know, those kind of things. But it can't be understated, like, these victories that you have, like, I know it's easy to dunk on people because they're not doing well. You know what I'm saying? Like, when they're not doing well. But also, when these guys start to make changes and they, you know, responsibilities change, Trevin Wallace, man, like I said, those two A-gap blitzes between the both of those guys, there was no hesitation. Like, they were extremely comfortable with the blitz. Like, sometimes you'll see people shoot the gap like that and then kind of like ease up a little bit because they're unsure of themselves. Like, both of these guys just came right at Jordan Love, and I love that. Now, there was a play where Christian Roseboom did miss a tackle where he had absolute beeline on the guy that it caught like Jordan Love dumped it off, and then he just kind of, it almost like he ran past him and just kind of dove, and Trevon Mark, you know, came in for the cleanup. But, like, beyond that, I mean, there was a few missed tackles here and there, but for the most part, he has played much better. Now, do I think that he is your long-term vision? No. But what I love about these two guys developing and getting better is that, like, look, we talked about it. You and I talked about guys like Arvell Reese, right? There's probably not a chance we're going to be able to draft somebody like him because of where he's going to get drafted. Arvell's probably going to be top 1, 2, 3 pick, right? Based on what it looks like right now. Reuben Bain. I mean, obviously he's an edge, but that's somebody that you're not going to really get a chance at. But a guy like Whit Weeks that we talked about from LSU, Harold Perkins, you know, these guys could come in and not have to have immediate responsibility because you have two guys that understand the defense, which I will say this. If Avero continues on this trend, there's a good chance he's going to have a job next year. There's going to be some openings in other places. He's probably going to get a job somewhere. But if he doesn't, which I hope that he doesn't, because I hope that you have that continuity coming back next year. If he doesn't, then, you know, you've got the same system in place. You can have guys that'll be able to come in and learn behind a Rose Boom, a Trevin Wallace, and then when their number's called, they're ready.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, I feel like, 15 tackles, that's undeniable, but we still see him having problems playing in space. It's like a guy, like he's doing well. I mean, the punch out, his first forced fumble of his career. But like I said, there's still opportunities. You know, that's a position. It wouldn't be bad to have him as a depth piece. I'd love to see him flying down on special teams.
Yes.
But yeah, there still are some things that, you know, we'd like to see him clean up. Like I said, definitely the play where they threw the swing pass and he was coming downhill. I don't know, maybe he just over pursued.
Yeah, that's the one I was talking about. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, those are the kind of plays you've got to make as a linebacker. That went from a 4-yard loss to a 6-7 yard gain.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So it's the consistency of, like I said before, make the easy plays. Sometimes, you know, you make spectacular plays, which he did with the punch out, but you got to make the easy plays, like on a swing pass. And then there was another one where it was an A-gap blitz, and him and Trevin Wallace both walked up, and then Wallace went ahead and blitzed, and then he had the flats, and, you know, they got a 6-7 yard gain off of that, 8-yard gain, and it was just one of those things, man, like you got to see the play, you got to get out there, you got to make the play. And I mean, and people may say, you know, you're nitpicking, but we're used to otherworldly linebacker play. I mean, I'm a fan that grew up watching, you know, Luke Kuechly, Thomas Davis, James Anderson, John Beeson, Dan Morgan, you know what I mean? So that sideline to sideline making plays, you catch it, you run it, you stop when you first get contacted. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So that's what I'm used to. And so that's, like I said, as far as, 15 tackles yesterday, and he made the most. I mean, he only played 74% of the snaps, so he made the most of his time on the field.
He did.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But still there's some things, you would like to see him do a little better.
Shout out to my dog, Keith, man. Keith said, my Dodgers won on Friday and Saturday. Panthers won on Sunday. Been riding that high into Monday. Yes, sir. Hey, and real quick, let me just say this because we're going to be on this theme all show long. First, smash that like button. 141 people watching between two platforms, 47 likes. Make sure to smash that like button. But I do have to say this. Hey, Meow Mix, stay y'all behind where you at. No.
Not this time.
Nope. Nope. Everybody been on it. Look, this ain't, if you want to say it's personal, then it's personal. But nope, stay on that side. Yeah, nah. Nope. I told my boy Keeb, Low. He said, man, you gonna say something? Absolutely, I'm gonna say something. Stay y'all ass over there. Don't come over here. Go ahead.
But yeah, I mean, that's about what I had to say, as far as that's concerned. But yeah, I mean, playing downhill, holding, Jordan Love, who was having, MVP conversations before the game started. A lot of people today, the reporting is, man, the Packers, they was, just playing around. It's a huge letdown from them. I mean, we had a way that we came in to execute, limit their possessions, run the ball, and I believe we dictated the flow of the game. So
I did too. Okay, hold on. I gotta pause for a second. Let's deep dive this for a second. So my man Keith said, "What is happening? Someone please explain." Okay, I'll explain it to you. One of the podcasts that exist in this space became infamous. What became more popular than, I'm talking about, bro, you could not pay for the kind of promotion that you got, right? And now all of a sudden, because I thought this thing would die, but it hasn't. Because people like Barstool, BG Gridiron, all these different places keep posting these photos of like the Panthers are 3-0, now 4-1 since Meow Mix quit. You know what I'm saying? Or since they just said they were gonna, not do any more pods because of, obligations to family and all that kind of stuff, which we totally understand that, right? But like now, saw a tweet. They're like, oh yeah, we coming back, dog. Hey, what's up? Huh?
Nah, not this time.
Nope. Stay on over there. No. Because it's going to be uncomfortable for you. Like, salute to y'all. Hey, come back. Do what you do. Shoot at me. I hope I get hey, look, I need it. Give me the publicity. You dig? I need it. But in the meantime, stay yo ass over there.
Not this time.
Shout out to my man FPFO Dylan. Dylan said, we just beat the number 1 seed in their trap. There isn't a game we can't win. Let's get 9+ wins. You should hop on the show on a Friday. Hey, look, holla at me. I'm down. I told you. Y'all my outside of myself being narcissistic, y'all my favorite pod, man. I watch y'all every Friday. I watch y'all every Tuesday. Mess with me. Send me an inbox. I'm there. Send me a link. I'm in. But, yeah, Brad, back to the game. That just to give y'all a little bit of context of what this is about. I ain't trying to shoot at them boys on some, I don't like y'all because I don't really listen to them. Like, a matter of fact, this was like the only second time I ever heard of them. You know what I'm saying? Like, I saw the name one time, but I didn't actually, listen to them like that, right? But I'm like, yeah, nah. Stay on that side. But go ahead, Brad, my bad.
Well, I mean, this is the kind of stuff you see from, children. And, I mean, I got a homeboy whose wife was a huge Panthers fan, and then once we traded away McCaffrey, she became a Niners fan. You know what I mean? And it's like, since we've been winning this year, they invited me to come watch the game last week, and I was like, no, don't be trying to hop back on the good foot.
On the good foot.
You know what I'm saying? We building something over here.
Straight up. We ain't got time for that. We
ain't got time for people to be jumping and hopping and just because one player. I mean, this is bigger than that.
Yeah, much bigger. All right, so I'm going to ask you a question, man. What's your 3 biggest takeaways from this game, Brad?
Number 1, Ike Ekwonu, 0 pressures, 13 plays where he was matched up with Parsons, 9 of them one-on-one, other ones were in a double team. Complete shutdown. Ike is playing like the kind of stalwart left tackle we needed when we drafted him out of NC State.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? A lot of guys were saying he was a road grader, and he has been that. He's always been a good run blocker. But the strides he's made in the past, the passing game has just been something to watch, especially, the former O-lineman. we always knew that the kid could run block. Like I said, the way he's just anchored that left side, especially with, Lewis in and out. He's had to play beside Corbett yesterday, beside Corinne. Huge.
Yeah.
Second thing is Jake Curran.
Yes.
Off the practice squad a few weeks ago and coming and playing 2 spots. Again, that's just, that's just a shout out to our offensive line, with the O-line coach.
Yeah.
The huge way that, we've just been able to plug and play. Like I said, 12 offensive line combinations. And the third, man, Rico's Roughnecks, man. Everybody fights. Nobody quits. You know what I'm saying? If you quit, I'll take care of you myself.
Period.
Everybody's game changes. The offense, defense. This was the first week I heard of this leadership council where you got team captains, players meeting, and, their spokesperson is Christian Roseboom.
Uh-huh.
And Roseboom went to, Canales and said, hey, man, you got to play Rico, man. You know what I'm saying? This is my first year here. You know what I'm saying? I know that people respect Chuba. He was an offensive captain last year. This year, I understand you're trying to give him a chance to work his way back from his calf injury and all that, but we have got to give Rico the bulk of the carries, and we've seen it. It was sad. It was like a funeral, man. Canales was like, I just wanted things that Chuba's done for this organization. I just want to make sure that, look, man, it's a what have you done for me lately type of league. Chuba is a solid back, but Rico, it makes you wonder, like I said last night, it makes you wonder if Chuba has left yards on the field.
Yeah. Because
Rico is patchwork offensive line, 130 yards, man.
Don't matter.
It don't matter.
Yeah, don't matter. Man, okay, so shout out to hold on, I gotta read this real quick. I'm trying to get off this, man, but Lo said something. Hold on, where you at? All right, here you go. Lo talking about how did Thanos get the Soul Stone? He had to make a sacrifice. Meow Mix got us the Soul Stone. Appreciate you. Shout out to the real. All right, so shout out to my man Jay Issue in the building. What's up, man? Martin NC, what's going on? Everything you said and more, right? I saw something that just was playing on the All 22 just a second ago. I just like to run it during the, while we're talking, just so we can kind of look at the, some of the footage or whatever. But the Bryce Young interception, I had mentioned this to you last night. I didn't pull this right now, but I'm gonna clip this and probably put it on X later, unless somebody beat me to the idea, which is fine. But man, to me, that looked like the exact same fade route that he threw because he throws it to a spot, right? Because I know people were like, well, why wouldn't you throw it up to him so he could kind of, go contest it? Well, you can look at his posture and tell his posture wasn't going to be contested catch. He couldn't bend the corner in the end zone like he did against the Dolphins. Plus, they didn't have a shaded safety right there that was able to close in time that actually picked that off, right? So, it looked like he was just throwing it to a spot. Now, I'm going to tell you what I don't like about that, right, is that you literally had Jalen Coker wide open. Man, he would have walked into the end zone, you know what I'm saying, on a crossing route. So, I feel like, and I told you this last night, it feels to me like sometimes in certain situations, and of course they do this, but it felt like XL can kind of get lost in the shuffle because I feel like they were manufacturing touches for him, even if it's something that kind of went against the game plan, right? And it resulted, first time it worked, but this time it just feels like it was more of a, hey, let's just get him involved kind of play, right? And he had a big-time catch. Now, and I'm going to tell you what's weird about XL. I said this to you last night, man. Bro, somebody can be like 2 or 3 yards away from you and the ball just be like, bloop. You know what I'm saying? And bro get absolutely smacked, which I hope the league, and I saw Jay Issue mention this in the chat, I hope the league looks at this because that was targeting, right? Knocked him. That was a tough hit, man. But bro, I'm not even a body catch. He body man, literally hand catching this, and held on to it. And you gave me an interesting analogy last night. Tell the chat what you told me last night as far as like the type of the type of person that Excel is, because I ain't gonna lie, that was funny, bro.
Yeah, Excel reminds me of one of those kids that, you go over your homeboy's house or, you go over your cousin's house and there's this little knobby-headed kid running around. They like, man, he tough, man. He be out there playing football, man. He be tackling. It's like, and then next thing you know, 10 minutes later, the kid comes through, falls down, hits his head on the coffee table, and not just like the side of the coffee table, the corner of the coffee table. Jumps right back up, rubs that spot real hard 2 or 3 times, and then, busts back out playing. He's back, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Back to square one. And you be like, yeah, he is tough. I'd have quit for 10 minutes off of that.
Yeah, straight up. And let me read this super chat real quick. Shout out to my man Michael with another super chat. Michael says, shout out to Dave and Stacy for calling the coils and tossing, choosing the wind at our backs for the second half. Yes, that's the same thing I had said earlier. I don't know, man, my chat is tweaking, man. Like I got all this great stuff going on the channel, man, all this great aesthetics, and I can't figure out these comments to save my life. But we're going to get that situated. But, yeah, shout out to Michael for the super chat. Yes, I talked about that at the top of the show, man. It instilled belief in the guys, man. Because conventionally, and Dave said as much, conventionally you don't want to, especially against a team like this, like you want to try to, you score first, you know what I'm saying? Or excuse me, let them score first so that you get the 2-for-1 at the end of the half going into the second half, right? But to have the gumption to come out and say, you know what? Hey, we're going to give it to y'all because we believe we're going to choose the side that we want to be on, going down the stretch in the game. And with a potential game-winning drive, we saw it happen, play out in real time. So that just, to me, one, it's an analytic, driven gamble, right? But at the same time, it's also a belief that you have in your squad. You're going in and playing a team that many people think 2 things. Number one, that the quarterback is a dark horse for MVP. I heard Tom Brady say that this week. And you're going into a team that many people think could be a Super Bowl contender. So what does that say about you? And I love, look, I don't have it clipped right now, but, man, look, Julian Edelman, Michael Strahan, Howie Long, man, all y'all can eat one. Straight up.
A whole bag.
A whole bag, right? Playing with your food. Man.
Yeah, this is the NFL, man. Don't dismiss us like that.
Facts.
They playing with their food. They can turn it on at any time. I like what Olsen said in the game, you know what I'm saying, in the telecast. He was like, listen, man, a lot of times you got these teams that think they can turn it on at any time. And then, you have low possessions, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
A team's playing the blanket coverage, so you're having to nickel dime your way down the field. You can't take the top off on those big plays that you're used to doing all year. And like I told you last night, I mean, I've seen Jordan Love struggle in those kind of instances because he wants the big plays. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And so when they tried to turn it on, it just wasn't there. And sometimes that's a week-to-week thing, but it's also, we had something to do with that. We were playing blanket coverage. They couldn't go over the top. He threw 2 or 3 passes in a double coverage.
Hey, look, hold on real quick. If this, I know it ain't real, obviously, but I'm just going to play along. But Mr. Potato Head Tepper said, hit that like button and I'll send you free tickets to our next home game. Hey, make sure they're in the box, big dog. Listen. Shout out to Tep. Hey, look, no, for real, shout out to Tep, though. And let me tell you why. I love that now that this team is starting to have some success, above 500, right? I'm not going to get ahead of myself because we're going to talk about scheduling in a minute. But the fact that you're in the best position you've been in since you've been an owner, right? Especially this late in the season. You didn't have the 3-0 start with Sam Darnold and Matt Rule, whatever, and company. Which, shout out to boy Sammy, man. I told you, Brad, you ain't going to get me off this, man. Shout out to that boy Sammy. But
Sam Darnold.
Yes, sir. Shout out to Sammy. But the point is that you're seeing success now. What we don't see is him trying to meddle. You know what I'm saying? And I'm telling you, that is such a good sign, y'all. It is a very, very good sign. Why? Because what you don't want is that now that you're having success, for him to come down and start telling you what you need to do to improve and continue in that success. It's like, I'm going to bask in the fact that I put it all together, but I'm staying out the way. And I'm telling you, dog, that is huge, because not every owner is like that. Some owners will sabotage their success, right? Some owners would have been like, yo, you're not benching the quarterback that I drafted first overall. It's not happening. Right? Some owners would be like, I really like Hunter Renfrow. We never drafted a Clemson player. You know what I'm saying? Bryson Tremaine? Huh? You know? And so the fact that he's out of the way and just kind of letting things play out as they play out, salute the tip.
Well, you see it most of the time, hey, when he's flipping out, throwing drinks or, going downtown to talk to store owners, it's because we losing. Nobody likes losing, man. I mean, the old adage is that, winning cures everything.
That's a fact. That's a
get
fact.
Some dubs, and Tep's like, hey, man, I'm good. I mean, I just need them win.
That's it. 167 watching between two platforms, 64 likes. Let's get those likes up. Thank y'all for joining me today on the One Carolina Show for Mint Street Mondays. And so I do want to go with my three big takeaways, right? And so takeaway number one, this whole thing with Rico and Chuba, obviously we saw the biggest difference. Rico had the lion's share of the carries. I will say this though, Chuba, and this is another testament to Icky. The play where Chuba got in, we were in the red zone. Bryce Young holding on to the ball, trying to make something happen. Ball gets hit, ball comes out, fumble. Chuba picks it up, heads up play, picks up a couple yards. Big time. But there was something that happened in that play that was even bigger than that. Watch what Ike Ekwonu did to Micah Parsons. Put him on the ground. Like, not pancake, but put him on the ground. If Micah Parsons is standing up right there, that could potentially be 6 going the other way, right? Mm-hmm. Because where that ball went to and where Chuba came from was right in that line of sight to where Micah would have been standing, right? And Micah's a pretty heads-up player, so there's a chance he probably turns around and falls on it, or at worst, picks it up and takes off down the other way, right? Which could have completely changed the momentum of this game. But I like that Chuba got that opportunity. I will say this, however. At one point, Chuba only had like 3 carries in the game until Rico got hurt. Can you really justify, and I know people are going to be thinking like, why are you calling for him to be traded? I'm not calling for him to be traded. I'm only asking a question. Can you justify a 4-year, $30 million contract for somebody that's on, 33, that's only going to get like a handful of carries? Can you really justify that?
Well, I mean, if they move forward next year, you got the Brooks kid coming back, and he's going to be better than Chuba if he can stay healthy. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? He's that kind of, player. He's that kind of difference maker. If you can find somebody to take that contract, like I said, there are a lot of running back needy teams. Mm-hmm. Apparently, the Patriots have been calling the last week or so.
That's the report
about Chuba.
Yeah,
that's the report that's out.
Well, let me say this real quick. Just like Lowe said yesterday, there's a dude on Twitter, X, named Ricky the Dog. That's like, he's got to be, he's an insider, right? But he's just, masked. But if he don't say it, then I usually don't believe it, right? So I don't know if that report is legitimate, but it is the report nonetheless. But carry on.
Right. I mean, you could get through this year if you were to move him, get someone to take that contract, and you get a pick or something, or, another complimentary player. You could definitely get through this year with Travis and Dallas. You got 2 competent backs to get through the year behind Rico. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, you would be okay if you were to do that. But it would have, like I said, it would have to be a deal where they take his contract and you can get something back. I mean, we're at the kind of, because in that way next summer, you're able to sign Rico to like a long term, or, just a little something where we can keep him a couple years. I know the big adage became you can plug and play anybody at running back.
Mm-hmm.
And we've seen it with Jahmyr Gibbs. We've seen it with what's the kid in Atlanta?
Bijan Robinson.
Mm-hmm. Difference makers are hard to come by at any of these positions. And once you find one, it's worth paying them. It's worth taking care of them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know that, I felt like the Chuba signing was a bit, quick, and we, gave him a lot of money. But the thing is, somebody said in the chat, we still seem to not fully believe in him. I mean, we're drafting running backs, we're signing running backs. So I still kind of feel like they were looking to upgrade the position a little bit. And this is just
Go ahead. No, go ahead. I'm gonna build on something you just said. Yeah.
But and this is just what happens afterwards. You find a diamond in the rough. You got a guy who has been sitting in Dallas for 5 years, had a 1,000-yard rushing season last year. I mean, Micah Parsons himself said it. He was like, Rico just needed the touches. He said, I feel like Dallas, the Cowboys didn't know how to use him. Carolina clearly knows how to use him.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So he's producing here. If that's what it comes to, you got to move on. You got to give your guys a chance to, really excel, make it his team. Like, I don't feel like with Chuba you have that. We talked about that a little bit. It'd be hard to sit there and look at him all rest of the season.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's already said, I just want to see the team win. So he'd be fine being here. He is a big culture guy, but it's, like I said, what have you done for me lately? And then the way Rico's playing, combined with the fact you got Brooks coming back next year, you drafted Etienne this year,
mm-hmm.
Dude, we really can take advantage of that just because of the need. I mean, look at the LA Chargers. I mean, their first-round picks hurt. You know what I'm saying? Their backups hurt. New England. Teams are, there's a lot of running back needy teams out here. And, hey, they can see we've got one on the shelf, basically. So
yeah, and I got to say this, one thing, Chuba deserves his flowers because what a model to kind of build from, like to be inspired by, right? To do as well as he's done over the last, I mean, and Chuba got it out the mud, man. You know what I'm saying? Like there was and look, I ain't gonna let a lot of y'all off the hook because there's a lot of y'all, I ain't gonna name drop, but there's some people out there that I see giving Chuba his flowers. That's really some of the main people out there driving this conversation about how dare could you say trade Chuba when y'all was the main ones going crazy about the fact that Matt Rule's wife was the one that put in the card to draft him. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then dogging him when he got here. Chuba can't catch. Chuba can't find, gaps. All this other kind of stuff. Chuba can't stay healthy. It'd be the fakest stuff ever, man. But look, the point is this, because I get wrapped up in it too. So I ain't gonna sit here and act like I'm not, just as guilty, right? But there's a couple of takes in the chat that I want to address. Amp for Life said, how sure are y'all I'm 100% on this take that our GM and coaches will let Rico walk and use this year as a highlight reel resume for getting picked up by a competent team who is interested in wins? Well, one, I think we're interested in wins right now. We're 5-4, right? And we got a lot of positivity in our future. That's number one. Number two, I do like the fact that that Chuba's been a model citizen in this situation. But Brad, you talked about it. I mentioned it. Me and Lowe had a debate about it yesterday morning. The team has told you how they feel. They have literally every single year that he's been here brought in somebody to be a compliment. Like in Rico's situation, yes, you need a complimentary back, right? But not someone who's going to get either 50-50 or have lion's share of the carries. Deontay Foreman, when he turned the corner, he had the lion's share of the carries. You know what I'm saying? Like every running back that's been here. And then it's the type of running back you bring in. That's what I was telling Lowe yesterday. I was like, it's not the fact that you drafted a running back, right? You didn't go out and get a free agent guy. You drafted Jonathan Brooks, who many thought was the best running back in that draft in the second round. You brought in Rico Dowdle. You brought in, let's go back before even Rico. You brought in Miles Sanders, who literally had 1,200 yards in a season that he hasn't eclipsed again yet. But you brought him in because of the production that you saw from him. Not to be some 1-2 punch, right? You wanted that, sort of. But they've been telling you the whole time. It ain't just been us out here talking about it. So this ain't a conversation that's like a new development, right? You drafted Trevor Etienne, a guy who's won a national championship. You know what I'm saying? So it's the type of running backs you're bringing in. And then get to Rico, a guy who slashed you last year at home, you know what I'm saying, on the opposite team, obviously. And you like, man, hey, let's go sign him and see what that look like. What you think? What do you think it's going to look like? You know what I'm saying? So they've been telling you without telling you how they really feel. I'm just glad that it's all coming to fruition. But again, it can't be understated what he's been to this team. But you said something, Brad, that I just cannot unhear. If this team really wants to get to a point, and I'm paraphrasing here to what you said, if they want to get to a point to have the changes in the room, maybe he's not a part of the major change that happens, because it can't be understated that this team never eclipsed a 500 record at any point of a season when he was rushing for 1,000 or he was your primary back. Look, we're just being real. I'm not trying to be hateful because it sounds like that, right? It may come off that way. I'm just being real.
Yeah, the best player on a bad team, usually a team moves on from them when they're hitting the reset button anyway. And I get it. Like I said, I mean, it's a culture signing. Rico tries, his best to, I mean, he's not a great catcher out of the backfield, but he's always on the jugs machine. He's not more like a natural runner. Like, he gets what he can get. Whatever the offensive line produces, that's what you're going to get from Chuba.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? When you see the hesitation, the run yesterday where Rico, it's an off-tackle run. They kind of stack it up. Defensive end Walker's out there. He stops, cuts, and then he cuts back up through the middle. And it's funny because, like, Damian Lewis is just kind of looking at him, and he pats him on the back as he runs by, but it's like a 7-8 yard run.
Mm-hmm.
That's just natural, man. Somebody said it in trap, man. Like, it's just natural the way he moves with the ball. And I don't know if we saw that at Dallas last year, but it's just a different kind of running. I mean, he's going to get stuff that's there that other running backs don't see.
Mm-hmm.
And I do want to say I did misspeak. I was unaware DJ Dallas got cut 2 days ago. So,
yes, he did. Yep.
So forgive me for that.
I want to highlight something that Miss Rand had said earlier. She said, "Would you rather have Chuba, Brooks, and Etienne, or Rico, Brooks, and Etienne?" Now, this is coming off the comment where Armed, what was his name? Amp for Life had mentioned about the potential of them letting Rico walk, right? Which of those, in your opinion, would you like to say? I know my answer, but I want to know what you would say to that.
Yeah, I mean, we saw with a little bit of Brooks last year. I mean, he's got that kind of hesitation, hit the hole. I feel like we are in the age of, the medical technology where, I mean, the kid just tried to come back too soon, plus our weird turf issues. I feel like the kid's going to be okay. I mean, and it's not a degenerative knee condition. It's not something that, he's basically like, Dwayne Wade doesn't have, those parts in his knee anymore, or, a Brandon Roy in basketball, where it's just like, or even Amari Stoudemire, where it's just like, yeah, his knee's messed up. This is all we're going to get is a few years out of him.
Mm-hmm.
He's rehabbing. I think he's going to be a good player for us. He's a big back. He can pass block. He can catch out of the backfield. Supernatural. You put him with Rico, and we've seen, Etienne, like, when he's got a chance. I mean, he's had some good runs, and he's a heady player. You know what I mean? At the end of the Dallas game, they were trying to let him score. He knew. He got down on the 11-yard line and allowed him to kick the field goal. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's the combo I would like to see us go with. I just know how hard it is to move a player and to get something back and to get another team to take that contract.
I mean, even that play that they're showing right here, like, Rico's ability to catch the ball out of the backfield, underrated, like extremely underrated. Like,
I didn't see that in Dallas like that.
I did. It was few and far between. And the only reason I saw that is because I've said this before. I'll say it again. my proximity to Rico is a little bit different. Rico is from South Carolina, but Rico did move to my hometown, Asheville, North Carolina, to attend high school. I believe he moved there in 8th grade or something like that, and then went to Reynolds Middle, I believe, or maybe he went. I know he ended up at Reynolds High School, right? So went to Reynolds High School. I went to Reynolds High School. So obviously, I've been following his career since high school, where he was the #1 rusher in Western North Carolina's history. And look, if you're from Asheville, there's some names. There are some serious names. For you to have that on your belt, I mean, there's some names. I'll just throw out a few. John Avery. You know what I'm saying? John Avery played for Asheville High. John Avery went on to get drafted in the first round by the Miami Dolphins out of Ole Miss. John Avery still has records at Ole Miss, right? Guys like, and we're not talking about just Reynolds. We're talking about Western North Carolina, period, right? Guys like Manny DeCharter from Brevard. Guys like Bobby Bowens from Reynolds. Guys like Josh Meadow and Andrew Oak. Johnny White. Like the list goes on and on of all these great running backs that have played ball in the Western North Carolina, in Western North Carolina. And the odd thing is that he's the #1 rusher out of all of them, and he was one of the only ones that wasn't drafted. Like Johnny was drafted to Buffalo. Like I said, my man, I don't think Manny went to the league, because I don't even think Manny went to college anywhere big. But I think that was more just on some like high school stuff, like just like grades or whatever like that. But like, like I said, John Avery, drafted to the Miami Dolphins. So all these guys. And he's the #1 rusher, and still holds that record to this day, right? So like what Shane Law said, he was like, man, it's always there. It's been there. So I've been following him for a very long time. I did see this in Dallas quite a few times, especially his catching out of the backfield ability. That's been shown. His ability to run routes. Like Rico can pretty much run the full route tree. Like he's an anomaly. He was just on a team, and this is how the politics go, man. When you are drafted, I said this on Lowe's show yesterday, it's possible that you might have your own version of AB in Lil Jimmy, but he's not going to get that opportunity yet because of where he was drafted and what's in front of him. It don't matter how well he played yet. It don't matter, what you see on the jet sweeps and how when he, runs a route and comes off the line of scrimmage, he's explosive and these guys get turned around, these defenders. None of that matters. What matters is like, look, the people that we drafted that we're paying the money to, those guys have to get opportunities. This situation that happened with Russell Wilson and Matt Flynn is extremely rare. It's extremely rare. It doesn't happen often, right? So a guy like Rico may have had this ability all along. Maybe there were some things that they saw in the combine. Maybe he ran the 40 and it wasn't, a good day for him. Any of these things could have happened, right? He sat behind Zeke and Tony Pollard for all those years, got his opportunities few and far between, and what do you know? The one chance that he gets to actually show what he can do, rushes for 1,000 yards. Now, you could say that same thing about Chuba Hubbard, but Chuba Hubbard was active. There's a difference. You see what I'm saying? So there is a big difference in between what, how this all came together. And so now he gets here and is doing stuff that's historic. It's not just that it's beyond him just being good. I saved a clip, and I'll bring this up in just a second, about where he stands in the pantheon of like rushers for like Panther history and also, in NFL history at this point in his career. So I'll pull this up really quick. Give me like 2 seconds. Brad, you can just hold.
Well, basically, I mean, and another thing about Rico is, he's got the piece in his cheek, the
Mm-hmm.
earrings, the dreads, like, people will look at him and be like, man, he's just a big talent. It's the physicality of it. But the thing about Rico is, man, he's also like a football savvy guy. Like, I mean, he talked about yesterday after the first run, he knew they could run on him. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
Packers had a pretty decent run defense. And then he talks about, man, I watched film. I knew that there would be openings here, there. You know what I'm saying? We talk about him going to Isaac and being like, hey, man, here's a play that we don't run that we ran in Dallas that I like. I feel like it's something that our offensive linemen, would be able to open holes up on. And every time they ran it yesterday with Chuba and got like 12 yards. You know what I'm saying? This kid is like, he's a cerebral player too. That's one of the big things I like about him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And, he's just showing it. I mean, he's stepping up in the kind of way that it's not just he's going out there making plays. I mean, when he goes to the podium, and when, you know what I'm saying, they got the microphone in his face, he's saying, you know, I'm watching film, I'm realizing where I can get going. I see what, you know, I feel like after a couple of runs, I know what we can get going. I'm going to coaches and I'm telling them, like, these are some of the plays I would like for you to implement to get me going.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just a whole, it is, I mean, it really is like a funeral of, like, you know, a death of,
Chuba somebody you really mess with. Yeah, man. It is, man, because it's like you can see the writing on the wall. You really can. This is that clip. This is from ESPN Research. This is Ed Warder, who, man, I don't think Ed Warder still works for ESPN, but what a legend. But from ESPN Research, since making his first start of the season in Week 5, Rico Dowdle has rushed for an NFL best 633 yards. Now, I just want you to let that sink in for a second. Week 5, 633 yards. If he started from week 1, two things I think would be true. Number one, we'd probably be somewhere around 7-2. Two, he would be on pace to probably rush for nearly 2,000 yards. Now, could you say this is where you have the delicate balance, right? Is he DeMarco Murray? Is he Chris Johnson? Or is he Saquon for this team? Is he Marshawn for this team? Because that's where it gets interesting. But the thing is like, if he's DeMarco Murray, the reason I don't let him walk out the door is because what he does works for what we do. Rico might not be able to go anywhere else and tell a coach, hey, let's run an inside zone toss. And they'd be like, man, if you don't sit down somewhere.
If you don't sit down.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Too much.
So it works for us because it works for us. DeMarco Murray looked great with us and then went to the Eagles and flamed out. He got the bag, but flamed out. Dowdle gained 126 of his 130 rushing yards inside the tackle. Since week 5, he has an NFL best 454 yards on inside rushes. I say to you what? Yes, defense has been our pedigree, but whether it was Jonathan Stewart, D'Angelo Williams, Stephen Davis, Deshaun Foster, Tim Biakabatuka, we have always been a keep pounding team. If you want to win in this league, that's what you need, because 454 yards of your rushes have come inside. Case in point, what does that mean? Let me take my forearm, put it in your face mask, and incite my will upon you, not the other way around. Greg Olsen said it yesterday. Rico makes his own lane sometimes. Yes, he's patient. Yes, he can see the hole. You add on to that the fact that he can catch out of the backfield, and that's an added bonus. But for the most part, hat on hat, and that's what this team has been made of from its inception. Most rush yards inside tackles week 5. Rico Dowdle, 454. Taylor, 336. And guess who else? The mammoth himself, Derrick Henry, at 291. Shout out to Rico Dowdle. Stop playing with him.
Yeah, they I mean, and I understand, like, you know, where people are coming from. But again, we're at that point where we've made the decision for him to get the bulk of the carries, and he's producing. I don't know what's going to happen at the end of the year. I don't know what's going to happen this week. We're not saying, like I said, that Chuba is going to get traded. It's just the stuff they've been bringing up. But, I mean, the kid is just boosting everybody around him. I mean, Bryce is playing better. I mean, that's the kind of thing when you got a running back that's doing what he's doing, when you have those have-to throws that Bryce has got to make, it's going to be different. You know what I'm saying? Like, guys are going to be able to work different routes. I mean, the middle of the field is going to be wide open because the linebackers are going to be playing up in the, you know what I'm saying, in the line of scrimmage because they think we can't let anything – you know, we can't let this guy keep getting 7, 8, 9 yard runs on us. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you run that play action, especially out from under center. It just, I mean, Canales talked about how, you know, it galvanizes everybody. Everybody has more energy. Everybody has, you know, saying everybody's more excited. You know what I'm saying? Because the fact that he's running the way he's running, as hard as he's playing, you want to go out and give that same kind of effort.
Yeah, shout out to my dog Ricky. Ricky Raines in the building. Ricky Raines has just taken over at I believe it's Pro Football Network, and he is a writing contributor there who is excellent. Ricky's one of the smartest people in our space. Ricky's one of the coolest and kindest people in our space. So if you don't follow him, go and follow Ricky Raines on X, man. That is my dog. Salute to you, man. I appreciate you coming through this morning. And then, so I want to, I haven't really been talking in the chat as much, and I want to just kind of update on the chat a little bit. FPFO Dylan Rice says, shout out to Manny. I went to Brevard. That's what's up. Yeah, I remember Manny, man. My brother played against Manny. Manny was the real deal. Shout out to Jay Issue. Said he would love to keep him. Talking about Rico Dowdle. I agree. So I do want to read a couple of, Amp for Life had a couple of comments that I think some people were responding to, and it says, why would anyone say Brooks here? He been out for 2 full seasons, so I can't vouch for that in good faith. I can't pick either option because I say Brooks ain't him. Okay, so conventionally, I guess I can understand what you mean by that, right? Because most people, well, no, that's not even true. ACL is different for different people. I'm not so much worried about the physical portion of his ACL. I'm more worried about what it does to him mentally because it happened on a non-contact. So, like, him cutting, that's what running backs do. So, like, does it impede him being able to be elusive? If it does, then yes, like you, I would be concerned. The only thing I would say to that in opposition, though, is that in the small, very small sample size that we saw what it can look like, right? And to me, it would be worth, because it's a rookie contract, so you're not really paying him anything, number one. And I would let the past be my guide. Adrian Peterson had a similar injury. Thomas Davis, tore his ACL a couple of times. So, like, football is football. I mean, these guys, the mental makeup, if he feels confident, like, I get it when you say, like, okay, well, why would you rush Chuba out the door? If this is what you're saying, why would you rush Chuba out the door? And then Rico's your guy, Etienne is your guy. Like, how do we know that this isn't just a flash in the pan? Well, it could be, right? It could very well be a flash in the pan. But it's a flash in the pan that's led us to 5-4. Somebody else in the chat mentioned, like, oh, this is just a one-off thing, right? I think that's what they said. This is kind of a one-time, situation or whatever. This is what he says. Maurice says, falling in love with the moment never works out. Well, how's that worked out for us over the last 8 seasons? Because we hadn't had a winning record to end the season in 8 years. But right now we're 5-4 with a guy who could potentially rush us to a, 10-win season or better, maybe even a playoff berth. So if it's a one-off thing, cool. But I'm also going to reward him if it's that, because I'm going to bank on the fact that it could be more than just 1 year. Because quite frankly, anybody not named Jonathan Stewart, anybody not named D'Angelo Williams, we hadn't really seen this as of late. And don't tell me, Chuba, we saw it with Chuba. No, you didn't. Not like this. No, you didn't. And if you do, if you do, you lying. Because even Greg himself said yesterday, unprovoked. This wasn't even, like, Chuba ain't even on the field yet. Greg was the one that was going crazy about it last week. Unprovoked. On the field, he's like, man, you see, Chuba just doesn't, find those lanes like Rico does. This in the red zone, they're getting ready to score. I'm like, man, what you shooting at Chuba for? Unprovoked. Real ones know.
Well, I mean, and about the John Brooks thing, I'd like to say this. I mean, because, people are like, you can't make that inference, you can't make that parallel, but you talked about how these ACLs affect people differently. And to that, I'll say this. In 2002, Frank Gore tore his knees to pieces, both of them.
Mm-hmm.
He officially retired in June 2022 after a 16-year career. While he had 2 ACL tears, his career longevity was remarkable, and the surgery did not prevent him from becoming the 3rd-leader rusher in the NFL history. Now, I'm not saying Jonathan Brooks is going to be no Frank Gore,
right?
But if he carried his ACLs up in the early 2000s, this man has had an ACL tear in the same knee.
Yeah.
Because of the way the turf is, and it was still in 2024.
Yep.
I think we're going to get something out of it. You know what I'm saying?
I do too.
And we can see, you can be dismissive of, oh, nobody wants to get a running back, blah, 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 blah. We all know Jerry wanted the kid bad. And two, it's obvious that a good running back, if nothing more than what Rico was doing to completely turn our fortunes around as a team, it shows how big a good running back can be and how much an effective player at the running back position or transcendent player at the running back position can change the outcome of your entire team.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. So, takeaway number 2. The first one was long. Takeaway number 2. Bryce Young only had 108 passing yards. I know this is going to bring out, it's going to bring out the detractors. It's bound to happen, right? I understand it. I get it. Most people would rather, what I've started to learn, man, is that when it comes to offenses, and the league has showed us this, it showed us as much. And so it shouldn't be a surprise to me. I think people would much rather see their quarterback throw for 400 or 500 yards and they either inch out a close game or lose than they would, a quarterback throw for what Bryce threw for yesterday and beat a team that you conventionally weren't supposed to beat. The reason I know that the league wants that is because the rules have been shifted over the years to benefit the offensive player, right? Specifically the quarterback. Whether it's, you bull rush somebody. I saw yesterday Jack Campbell did his best job, the best job that he could to pull up when he sacked, who was it that he hit? Who they play yesterday? The Lions. J.J. McCarthy, right? And the flag still came in, still got the roughing the passer call. Or I've seen, and I've seen people get blown up. And I don't know that I could say this definitively, but it feels to me like the league started to kind of change their viewpoint on quarterback hits after watching that, was it Brandon Marshall or Chris Harris that absolutely destroyed Cam in that game, the first game back after the Super Bowl season. I want to say it was Marshall. Missile.
Yeah, the linebacker, Brandon Marshall.
Yeah, missile dove and hit Cam. And the optics were horrible. We know that the league by and large.
It's just bull, man. It's like I said before, man. They don't be doing that shit to Aaron Rodgers and those kind of guys, man.
Yeah.
Because they know what it would be.
Right. And so seeing something like that happen, the optics were horrible. So obviously they had to do something, to change the narrative, because it's all right, well, I can't let you can't do that. You know what I'm saying? That's too much, right? And so naturally what happens is, rules start to change. The offenses have started to change, right? The offenses are more spread out. This is the reason why you see more of a 4-2-5 front than you do the classic 3-4 or 4-3 because you got 5 wide. So, there's changes that have happened. So the offense is the thing that the league wants to go towards, because it is. When you think back historically, Don Coryell never won a Super Bowl, but watching Dan Fouts and company, with the air raid was a fun watch, right? So people do want to watch high-flying offense. Personally, I like winning games, and I like old school football. I can run the ball and I can stop the run, and those are two things that the Panthers are doing quite well at this moment, because that's another thing that can't be understated is how well they're running the ball. But I have said from day one, and I will stand on this, I don't know if Bryce Young is going to be an all-world franchise quarterback. I've seen moments where he looks like one. I've seen moments where he doesn't even look like an NFL quarterback. I'm seeing moments of him that is starting to improve. For example, he did this again yesterday, stepping up in the pocket. We talked about this. I talked about this with Lo on Sunday morning on the pregame podcast. Make sure y'all subscribe to the pregame. I'll put the link for Lo's channel in my description. But Bryce Young stepping up in the pocket, not necessarily a wide base with the hitch, only really getting one hitch because of how the pressure was coming. So you kind of relying on what you've learned over all these years. But that's something that wasn't happening. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't happening before. And you're seeing that now. So that's another step in the development. Yes, you did lose Adam Thielen, who was your safety blanket. And him and Jalen Coker are going to, the chemistry is going to get better, right? Him and the XL chemistry will continue. Him and the T-Mac chemistry is already there, right? And I think that you could have force-fed T-Mac yesterday. I think that's what we're going to see against the Saints. I think you're going to see a lot of T-Mac. I think T-Mac may have one of his potential Rico games where he go for 200, something crazy, right? But the point is that what you need from Bryce is exactly what Dave Canales was brought in and said that he was going to do with Bryce. I want to run the ball. I want to be bullish with the run. And I want Bryce Young to make 1, 2, 3 big-time plays, get the ball out in 2.5 seconds, and I think we can have some success. Is that not what we saw yesterday? That's exactly what we saw yesterday. Bryce Young on that game-winning drive in the wind. A curl to T-Mac. You know what I'm saying? Like a play here, a play there, a rush here, a rush there. And then Rico, 19-yard run to set us up for the win, right? That's winning football. I'm old enough to remember a Kyle Shanahan-led team with Jimmy Garoppolo where they threw 8 passes in an NFC championship game and went to the Super Bowl because Raheem Mostert and I believe Matt Breida lost their mind rushing the ball. I don't need Bryce to be an all-world beater because that honestly, we don't even need that to hoist the Lombardi. But I can tell you this, if he gets to that moment, if he gets consistency each year, right, not only is he worth the contract that he'll get, which I don't think is going to be a bank-breaking contract, right, but you need that. He's available for the exception of 2 games, been available, you know what I'm saying, outside of when he was benched. So, yeah, a big takeaway from that. I don't need a ton from him in order for it to be effective. And for all we know, because here's the thing. I do believe the Carolina Panthers are going to draft a quarterback this year. I think it's going to happen, right? And you have the excuse to do so because of Andy Dalton. So we don't know that next quarterback is not being groomed to be the guy that would take this offense to even the next level. And Bryce Young was the person that steadied the ship. If that happens, I'm telling you, he will still get mad love in Carolina as a result of what he was able to do to put us in a position to steady the ship. And if that's all we get from that trade, then to me it was a win.
Well, I mean, definitely yesterday, I feel like he only missed on 2 throws. And both of them were in the, south end zone, like the one where he missed, or the one with Leggett, you know what I'm saying? I feel like, I mean, even this kind of thing, people talk about you were alluding to the Dolphins game, you know what I'm saying, where he hits XL.
Mm-hmm.
Yesterday, XL had the guy beat over the top. I like what Greg Olsen said. The design of a play like that is either your guy gets a chance to catch it or it goes out of the back of the end zone.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what I will give Bryce a reprieve on that is the wind was blowing at 30 miles an hour and it was swirling. So I do feel like the way that ball died and come back towards the middle of the field where the safety ended up going over, I feel like the wind had something to do with that.
Mm-hmm.
I also feel like, they watch film. You know what I'm saying? I feel like their safety knew this is the play where they go to XL. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then that's why I told you last night, my hope is that Bryce will look at that, and when he drops back, he can give a pump fake and then hit Coker across the middle, depending on what the safety does. You know what I'm saying? If the safety doesn't, if the safety vacates the middle of the field and goes to take, Leggett, he can hit Coker across the middle. If he stays and covers Coker, he can, same thing, throw over the top of Leggett. The other was it still hit, T-Mac in the hands, but the play at the bottom of the end zone, it just, like you said, I mean, it didn't look good. It looked like a duck. You know what I'm saying? It quacked like a duck.
Right.
But I feel like that was, again, because the wind was blowing so hard down in that south end zone. So I go back to last week. I mean, you want to talk about, the MVP, the reigning MVP of the league threw for 168 yards against us last week.
Mm-hmm.
You do what you need to do to win.
That's a fact.
I know that the league has changed ever since Tom Brady tore his ACL at the first of the season and the Patriots had to go through that season with Matt Castle. They have started to change how people, could tackle, could take quarterbacks to the ground. And then they started the crap where you had to lay them down. You couldn't put your weight on them, which, people were talking about in the chat, like they did not implore any of that with Cam Newton in the pocket or out of the pocket.
Mm-hmm.
But not to digress, I feel like we run the ball like this. Bryce makes the big throws when they're open, when they're there. It would be a hard team to deal with.
A very hard team to deal with.
You know what I'm saying? Because, I mean, one thing you're seeing now in San Diego, I keep saying San Diego, but the LA Chargers, when they are asking Hubbard to make certain throws, man, he can't do it. He's struggling. I mean, he's throwing picks. You know what I'm saying? He's missing. And he's very up and down. Some weeks he's consistent, some weeks he's not. But that's what you're looking for, is that consistency. And if Bryce can get to that point where we can count on him, I'll say this. I mean, I'm not being the biggest Bryce guy, but yesterday when we got the ball back with a little over 2 minutes, I had confidence for the first time in him. I felt like, hey, he's going to get us in position to win.
I'm glad you said that, but see, that I'm going to be honest with you. Like, to me, that's when I piped up, because I done seen this movie. You know what I'm saying? I saw this movie his rookie season against Atlanta in the rain. I saw this movie against Green Bay the last time. He just ran out of time in his rookie season as well. I saw this movie last year against the Chiefs. I saw it against the Eagles. Like, multiple different times we've seen this. Like, this is – and there's something to be said for that, man, because this was his 9th game-winning drive. That's big dog, I'm a gamer type of stuff, man. And to me, that supersedes me having a 300, 400, 500-yard game. I do think that's coming for Bryce at some point because he can do it. You don't do that kind of stuff in college. And we've seen him throw, he's 5 touchdowns total against the Falcons last year, right? He does that in that stadium. That's what I'm saying. Like, and we're going to get to that in just a second. But, yeah, man, I do think that those things are coming. It's going to come with more, like, look, there is still, this offense still, from a receiver perspective, and we can't get lost in this. Yes, we have T-Mac. Yes, we got Coker. But one of the things that Smitty was kind of, ranting about, everything is possession. There's not a lot of juice from the receivers, right? You got a guy, but he might not be ready yet. You talked about how in the blueprint it was shown that Jimmy may have run the wrong route, came to Andy Dalton, hey, my bad. You know what I'm saying? So maybe that's part of the reason why he didn't get to start right away. Plus, he was a 6th-round pick. I mean, I'm not, I know I like Jimmy, but the rest of them, but, got to keep perspective in perspective, right? But this is something that will develop over time. I like that you have a running game and a balanced approach at offense because you can kind of dictate pace. But when you're playing a team like Buffalo, like we saw last week, you do need a Bryce Young to be like, okay, you're going to have to carry the water for us a little bit, man. We need you to really go out here and, take care of business. And I think that'll improve over time.
Yeah, but that also was because we didn't run Rico last week.
That too.
If you run Rico last week, you don't need Andy Dalton to be passing as much as he had to pass. And who knows if it would have helped anyway because he was out there pump faking 3 and 4 times and taking sacks. I definitely felt like we would have been more competitive with Bryce out there. But also, too, I mean, it's direct cause and effect. You know what I'm saying? We keep running the ball like this, teams are going to have to sell out on the run.
Yes.
And when they start selling out on the run and walking everybody up to the line, then you're going to have Coker, XL, you're going to have T-Mac, and you're going to have Jimmy Horn Jr. open for one-on-one plays against safeties, against linebackers, you know what I'm saying, against cornerbacks. You don't have that now because, I mean, a lot of teams play the same concepts. And, they showed yesterday where they were playing 3 deep on us. It's hard to get over the top and have explosive plays against 3 deep coverage. So you run the ball. And like I said, as we get closer to the end of the season with the conference, like we've got to play some real tough conference games against Tampa Bay. But let's say if we were to get to the playoffs, teams are going to sell out and they're going to be like, listen, this is what we talked about having an identity. This team likes to run, play smash mouth football, go play action. And what they're going to try to do is stop the run. And then that's when we're going to need Bryce. And I feel like he'll be able, like you said, to explode for a 250-plus game because guys are going to be running wide open.
Yeah.
We've got good receivers. But when teams are playing that blanket 3 deep, over-the-top coverage, it's hard to get explosive plays. That's just the base of football.
So I want to take a second again to just shout out to our channel members. Shout out to our newest channel member, Nicole Ivory, if you're still here. Thank you for joining the channel. Also, Geraldine Cook, Richard Bowman, King Sun 1. Shout out to y'all. You can join the One Carolina channel as a member for $1.99 per month. If you do join the channel, we will soon have members-only lives and members-only videos and stuff like that. So that's something that will be coming around the corner as well. I do want to highlight a couple of comments before I get to my next topic here. I saw that Panther Pickle said that Rico's cramps worry me, and that's why I don't want to trade Chuba this year. I can totally understand that. 77 Atkins said, honestly, I feel like XL has to attack the ball a little better. I feel like he just lets the ball come to him, unlike Tet, who goes and gets the ball wherever he is. Salute to you. And then my man Jay Issue says, great show today, fellas. I appreciate you, man. And so I want to highlight a comment that came through earlier, Super Chat. He says, let's see here. I'm going to go back to this one. So there was two of them. One is from Michael, and appreciate you for that Super Chat again, where he says, do you think we might make the playoffs? And then another was from FBFO Dylan Rice, who says that we just beat the number 1 seed in their trap. There isn't a game we can't win. Let's get 9+ wins. You should hop on the show Friday. Okay, yeah. So I saw your DM, and I'll get to you here in just a few. But let's talk about it. Schedule, man. We got a few games left, a few meaningful games left, right? We got a little run we can go on, Brad. So I'm going to tell you what we got next. We got the Saints. Then we got the Falcons, Niners, and then the Rams before the bye. I'll give you my prediction after you, but based on what I just said, what do you think our record will be in those next 4 games coming up?
Well, if we continue to beat the teams we're supposed to beat, we beat New Orleans. Atlanta looks tough in every other game they played in except against us. Mm-hmm. I feel like they're going to try to do some stuff down the field. When we played them the first time, they were trying to do a lot of sideline stuff. We keep that, lid on top of the pickle jar as far as Bijan Robinson is concerned. Mm-hmm. That could be a dub. San Francisco is reeling as far as how we would play them. They struggle to stop the run. San Francisco also, they run the ball well. They're well coached. They do a lot of gadget stuff. I worry about, Rose Boom in space with all the different things they do. And then the Rams, same thing. Rams, a high-powered offense. I feel like a lot of teams have kind of struggled against our pass defense. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like we said before, Josh Allen only had 168 yards passing. I mean, and that was because, James Cook ran for over 200 yards. But if we can get pressure against Matt Stafford, he's known to throw you one or two. So I will say this. I'll say 3-1, but the fan in me says 4-0. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, the heady analysts, take all things into account. We'd be very happy with 3-1 right there.
So 3-1 for you. Mm-hmm. All right. So here's what I got. A couple of things that I can't tell you I'm so excited about. Number one, the Saints. It's time. Sweep. Yeah, we definitely getting. Yes, sir. Sweep. We getting y'all out the paint this year. Bye. All right, so November 9th, that's a dub. November 16th, sweep. That's a dub. Getting the Falcons up out the paint. You know what little BY9 does when he come in that stadium. You done seen it. You seen it when he wasn't even playing for Carolina. You saw it with 421 yards against Georgia. And then he came up and served y'all with 5 touchdowns at the end of last year to cement the comeback of ages. So, yeah, getting them up out the paint. Then it come to Monday Night Football, where we will be streaming live. I think we're going to beat San Francisco, and here's why. They got a lot of injuries. They might have just lost Mykel Williams, their rookie, from Georgia for the season. Many other injuries. I don't have them all in front of me, but I just saw a list yesterday. Tons of injuries, right? Now, it is still Kyle Shanahan. You are still having to travel to the West Coast. But if you can do what you did against Green Bay, and that is run the ball and control the clock, then yeah, that's a dub. The Rams are a little bit different story. I think the Rams being out there on the West Coast, 2 games, short week, that's going to be a tough one. But you know what? I'm on it. 4-0. Book it. Taking care of business. I think we go 4-0 at the worst, 3-1 into the bye. This team is 8-5 at the bye or 10-4 at the bye. And yes, to answer your question, Michael, and also Dylan, we will be making the playoffs. I really strongly believe that we will potentially split with Tampa, and this team will make the playoffs. But before we do that, I need to make one announcement. Part of our success is going to be telling Meow Mix to stay out the way.
Nah, not this time.
Stay over there. We got a good thing going. Stay out the way.
This season brought to you by Meow Mix. Well, like I told you last night, my thing about the Tampa Bay games is point differential. Tampa Bay has like one of the lowest point differentials in the league. This thing could fall off the rails. They're winning games between 3 and less points. I mean, it's just like we are too, but I'm saying we could be competitive with them.
Right.
It's not like you fear Tampa Bay like they're some kind of unstoppable downhill machine that, you're pushing against and you can't do anything about it. I feel like we've got the team to compete with them. We can run on them. We can pass on them. So it just definitely feels like at this point with what we're doing, we've got a formula, we've got an identity, we can win some games.
Facts. Yeah, man, Ricky. Hey, I know them boys going to shoot at me, man. I don't even care. I could care less. Because I promise you, if we start,
they ain't supposed to be here.
They not supposed to be here. Get out the way.
Not this time.
Bye. Get out the way, man. No.
You brought this on yourself.
You did. 100%. This is on you. We don't quit. Bro, some of us been in this. Look, I've been a content creator since 2021, right? Gosh, I can't even think of so many of these people. Man, my man Dunk, he been on platform since the 2015, 16, 17, something like that. PNP the same. Pat Coltrane, he like the OG of all of us, right? And he's still going. Quit? Are you serious? No.
Nah, not this time.
And it's hilarious to do that in a season, one of the only seasons where they've shown promise.
Yes. Of all times to throw in the proverbial towel. Take
the
you
season above 500 this late in the season since 2019.
Yeah, man. Take you and them little bitty avatars I be seeing on the stream and get your ass out.
Nah, not this time.
No. Anyway. Shout out to my man Jay Issue. New member in this thing, boy. That's what I'm talking about. If you want to become a member of the One Carolina podcast, man, make sure you $1.99 per month. You can become a member of the show. We appreciate y'all. Shout out my man Pop. Meow Mixed Emotions. Hey, I like that. That's a bar. Mixed Emotions. Meow Mixed Up. Meow Cake Batter. We got a whole bunch of them, man. No. Stay on that
Stay
side.
in the letterbox. I like that one.
Yeah, it ain't personal, man. We just need this, man. Sometimes you get you remember when in Transformers where she ripped the rabbit foot off and handed it to him out the door? You know what I'm saying? Because she didn't really know what the whole thing meant. She bought a rabbit. And then she ripped the rabbit's foot off and he's like, what's a lucky rabbit's foot? She's like, I know I'm not from America, so you're teaching me something, right? You know what I'm saying? Rip it off. This might be our rabbit's foot. Then y'all can come back in the offseason, talk all kind of ball, once everything is cemented. But for the here and now, while we building, y'all are part of the build. Take pride in that. Take heart in the fact that you are part of a season that is magical. But while we do it, again, stay over there. It don't have to be right here, man. You know what I'm saying? Like you can be in the congregation, but Lord have mercy, stay yourself somewhere away from the pulpit. All right. I'm gonna shoot you down. I ain't gonna talk racism, but if you know you do what now? Stand for our podcasters. Don't let people shoot you down. Ain't gonna talk racism, but if you know, I don't even know what that means. But shout out to Rico. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, man, excited about what we saw. Let me ask you one last question, Brad. You think the Panthers will make a trade at the deadline? Buyers or sellers?
If it's not, I mean, like I said, I said this earlier in the season. I mean, I feel like we don't have anything. When there was kind of a talk of maybe we would trade some guys if like this season didn't go as it's going.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just kind of like, man, all of the kind of guys that would pull any kind of high picks, guys that people really wanted, like a Derek Brown, J.C. Horn. I mean, they just signed new contracts. So we may make some moves, but I really feel like the Gibson signing, kind of shored up and helped our run, defense.
Mm-hmm.
He's another good depth piece. I think we're, if anything, we'll be sellers, but that's just in a couple spots. I think we kind of stand pat unless somebody gives us an offer we can't refuse.
Yeah, my man Pop said the same thing. He said he thinks we'll be sellers. I kind of think the same thing. The Gibson thing changed it for me because, man, as an edge setter, bro, that was solid yesterday. Solid showing. So
I mean, he had a huge game for San Francisco a couple weeks ago, and you come out. It's like we were talking about with Chuba and Rico. I mean, he come out and played well. He balled, and they relegated him right back to the practice squad.
Mm-hmm.
And Dan Morgan was like, I see.
Yeah. Yep. I think I'm kind of like Tyler. I think neither, to be honest. I don't think that I think there's going to be a literal split fan base if Chuba gets moved tomorrow by 4, right? It's going to be ugly. But if they do it, I understand the reason. I'm not calling for it personally. So I'm not saying that you should do it. I know that, some of my commentary earlier may suggest that. I'm only saying that if you do it, I understand the reason why you did it, right? The contract, I think I saw on X somewhere somebody, or maybe in my comments, I can't remember, that the compensation, this might have been Pickle that said this, the compensation was a 4th-round pick and a salary. Ricky, if you're still there, I'm pretty sure you can give some insight on that a little bit better than any of us. But my guess is that maybe that's what they would, want for it. I mean, after what we saw yesterday, if Chuba going to play things the way that he's been playing them and be, cool about it, then I don't know if I would rush him out the door either. So that's where Amp for Life was saying, and I agree with that, right? But I like also that Dave Canales took a stand and stood on business when it came to like, hey, we still going, Rico has given us the best chance to win. We're going to go to him early and a whole lot often. So I do appreciate that. Now, I will say that there were a couple of guys that I did see that were kind of linked to us. One of those being, I believe, Arden Key. Not really sure if that's something that they'll be looking at. My favorite of all, if it was to happen, would be Kayvon Thibodeau. I think that, he, in the run game specifically, Kayvon Thibodeau is a really good edge setter in the run game. Doesn't really necessarily get and close the deal on sacks a whole lot, but I feel like you can kind of create a version of him with Princely Umamiele, maybe even better. So I, like you guys, I'm probably more on the sellers, if anything. If nothing else, we just kind of stand pat. I don't want to give up picks for anybody. You know what I'm saying? Like I like where we are from a draft pick perspective. I don't want to, it would have to be just some kind of insane move, right? And I don't see anything remotely close to that happening. So yeah, like many of you, I'm on the sellers portion. I think that we're not going to really bring in a whole lot of people.
No, like I said, unless somebody backs it up. I mean, we all forget that the Rams offered 2 first-round picks and a 2nd-round pick for Brian Burns back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
Just because they were that desperate for pass rushers in that year. So I would say, like I said, 3rd, 4th, and salary, maybe you move Chuba. But, somebody's talking about Rico being injury prone. I mean, the guy had cramps one game, and yesterday, I think he had, maybe some groin stuff, but it didn't stop him for rushing for 130 yards. I don't know where this injury-prone stuff's coming from.
That's a fact.
So, I mean, I like to hear today after the, after Canales talks to the media, what I'm saying, the press conference, I'd like to see if there's like any kind of thing that they found with Rico, kind of see how practice goes this week. I know Tuesday is tomorrow, but if Rico can't practice or there's something like that, then yeah, you got to hold Chuba to the end of the year.
That's a fact.
I do like what somebody said, is he the best backup running back in the league? I think with the issues that people have and the healthy running backs that have went down this year, you know what I'm saying? Especially a team like the Chargers. I mean, they lost 2 running backs. He may be the best backup running back in the league, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So sometimes you got to strike while the iron's hot, but also you got to make sure we have the compliments. Because we're a smash mouth running team, you got to make sure you do have 2 or 3 good backs.
Yeah.
So
that's a fact. 195 watching between 2 platforms, 91 like. Shout out to my man Ricky Raines. Make sure to smash that like button. Chuba's value goes further than on the field right now, too, in the culture that's showing up on these wins. Chuba is a big part of that. I don't think he's dealt personally. Hey, give me 2 seconds. I'm just going to take a quick call. Oh, my bad. Dang, I done said all that and y'all ain't even hear me. Dang. Oh, my gosh. They like he talking his face off, too. All right.
That boy's spitting.
Let me go back. All right, so I'm going to go back and I'm going to regurgitate what I was saying. So
yeah, start with the Ricky Raines.
Yeah. I'm going to go
I like that comment.
Yeah, so I had read all kind of comments from Ricky Rain, so I'm going to start back with this. Ricky says the contractual out in 2027 would be like a $1.7 million cap hit. I think he's a firm part of the plans next year, and still, to be honest. Ricky also said if someone comes and offers a third and eats the entirety of the contract and compensation, that would likely entice them enough, but I don't think that's realistic either. And then he finished off by saying, well, this was his first comment. He said, Chuba's value goes further than on the field right now, too. In my opinion, the culture that's showing up with these wins, Chuba's a big part of it. And I think he's dealt personally. So this is what I was ranting about, right? So Jalen Hurts, Tua Tagovailoa, Alabama. You know, Tua gets hurt. Jalen is playing bad. Jalen gets benched. Tua gets put in, right? Tua's playing well. He gets hurt. Jalen comes back, helps them win a game. Nick Saban on the sideline crying because of the character of a guy that really helped you get to the next level. You know what I'm saying? That helped you, a big part of you winning a national championship, right? And the beautiful part about that is that these high character guys like this, like when they treat the situation at hand like it's being treated, not like I made a reference to Kelly Bryant and Trevor Lawrence, you know, where, yeah, Kelly Bryant got you to a college football playoff, but you knew like it was different with Lawrence, who ended up winning the title and went to another, right? And you transfer right away. You're bitter, talking about it in the media and all that kind of stuff. Instead, just, you know what? Pick up the lunch pail and go to work. I understand, look, hey, it's a production-based business. I need to be able to produce. But then when you get your number called, you still do that very thing. Like I said, Ikem Ekwonu dropping Micah Parsons. When that ball comes out of Bryce's hand and he fumbles, picks it up, picks up a couple of yards, keeps us in scoring position. That's important, you know, and that can't get lost in this whole Chuba Hubbard conversation, regardless of what I say or anybody else, right? It's important to recognize that you have some high talent and high character guys on this team. And I love that what Ricky just pointed out, that's extremely important to make sure that Chuba knows that you are valued here. So look, could it have been a little bit of self-sabotage on Dave Canales' part with the Bills? Yes. But I do believe that they really, really value what Chuba means to this team. And it was important for the other guys in the locker room to see that, because somebody did point this out. I think it was Lowe that pointed this out yesterday. How do you know if you're Derek or any of these other guys that's like, hey, man, you have one slip, you get hurt one time, you make coach mad one time, and your job could be in jeopardy. It's important that, yes, you got to play this the right way because the production matters, but the way that you go about making this change is equally as important. So I'm glad that they overlooked and circumvented a lot of what some of us had to say and really came out and was like, look, we really like this guy. We love Chuba. He's been a great, ambassador for this team. He hasn't had a lot of success with this team, but he still showed up. That can't be understated either. Chuba hadn't had a ton of success with this team. He hadn't felt what it's like to be a winning franchise at the midpoint of the season. He hasn't experienced that, right? But yet and still, what did he do every single year? He got better and better and better. He never digressed to the point where he finally got to the 1,000-yard coveted season that I know he wanted to have. And then he got paid and rewarded for it. And just so happens that another guy that's just a lightning in a bottle situation comes in and look, it just looks better. But, man, you will be rewarded for what you were able to do with this team. And it's not over for you yet. Cramps, injuries, all that kind of stuff can happen, and you get your opportunities. So I think I'm going to settle on the fact that, like y'all, I do not want him traded, period, at all. But I'm glad that they made the decision. I stand on what I wanted as far as, like, the involvement of Rico in this offense primarily. I hope I wasn't muted that time because I ain't saying it again.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, I really like that comment because it is. I mean, sometimes you've got to know, like, even if a guy's outperforming me, like, my positive attitude and the way I carry myself will carry over, especially young guys like Jimmy Horn Jr., who may not be getting certain opportunities that, fans or him himself feels like he should get. But he knows I'm part of something, part of a base that's starting, we can become a winning franchise. And I will know my role now and just be ready when I get the chance, you know what I'm saying, to break out. So that definitely that isn't lost on me either.
Yeah. So I don't know if y'all heard the rant, if you can still hear me now. I know some people saying that they can hear me. I'm pretty sure y'all can hear me. I think it was just, I was muted for a minute. Oh, yeah, I know y'all can because I see Low commenting on something that I just said. So, because I went through that whole rant, man. I went through the whole spiel. Look, I'm going to tell you how I've changed as a content creator. Early on, man, when I would make mistakes like that and people would point it out in the chat, I'd be sweating bullets. I'd be like, man, I'd be sitting there looking like, dang, mad at the system, even though it's user error. I'm pissed. Freaking StreamYard. Like, nah, that's you, nigga. Shut up. But, you get better.
Players mess up, too.
Yeah, players mess up. Anyway, man, look, it's been another great show, man. I appreciate y'all for coming through. Brad, you said you had a last bit that you wanted to give, so fire away.
Yeah, when we talk about the culture that we're setting, I like when we became a more consistent, and we had an identity and a consistently winning franchise. Mm-hmm. Just for the start of the John Fox era, when you could feel like your team's going to win on Sundays. We had a identity game plan that we would do against these high-powered teams, and it's just the game plan yesterday limit their possessions. I remember Amin saying on the telecast that every team wants about 5 to 6 possessions per half. That's a good, measuring stick for getting your offense going, mm-hmm. for being able to, work through your play sheet, your call sheet. We limited them to 3 possessions in the first half. Mm-hmm. It caused Jordan Love to press, which they were talking about it on Get Up this morning. He struggles when he has the press, when he take what you give him, 5, 7, 10-yard completions all the way down the field. He wants to take the top off. Mm-hmm. He'll eventually make a bad pass, throw an interception. We did the same thing in 2003, playing a high-powered Colts offense. Dan Henning was our offensive coordinator. We went in there, limited their possessions, ended up beating them in overtime 23-20. And it was just kind of real cool nostalgia to think about the fact that, even in 2025, 22 years later, that it's still football. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's old school football. Run the ball. When you play a high-powered offensive team, you limit their possessions.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, all of that's well and good. It's good to go back and reminisce, but I knew we was going to win after Edrin Cooper pushed Bryce out of bounds for no reason, said let's let him run. And we slid on him and we snatched his chain. I knew it was about to be a dub.
Straight up. And the first person that slid was Nick. And I love seeing it. Love seeing it. But
I mean, he barely got off the sideline alive. I love it.
Yeah. So
they riding.
Shout out to my man Brad, man, closing us out. Appreciate all y'all that have joined us in the chat today, all the super chats that were given. Salute to y'all, man. It's Victory Monday. We deserve this one, y'all. We deserve it. Uh-oh. I seen something, bro.
I see it too.
Somebody done gave me a dislike, man. Somebody disliked me. Meow Mix must be on the prowl. Hey, look. Y'all think I care about that, man? Look, hey, let's keep it a buck. We winning. We 5-4. This is going to be the start of what I believe is a run, a meaningful run for this team. But, hey, man, y'all know what to do. Smash that like button. If you're not a member of the channel, consider becoming a member for $1.99 per month. And if you're thinking about quitting and you got stuff to say, you know what we say to that. How do we end it every time, y'all? We don't care. See y'all next week.
more, more.